Guys, so this is part one of the food plot strategy. So at this area, this is the staging area. The food plot's about 100 yards to the north. This is an old logging and ATV trail. This is the feeder I'm using. I have rack stacker. What's this called? Deer feed. Essentially, it's just a little better than regular corn. It's not as dry. It helps with ruminitis, which is something that can affect deer. It's a starch overload. So if you're gonna, harvest an animal later in the year, I think it's good to give back and help them in the colder months in the year. I also added fixation. It's another Rackstacker product. I'm not sponsored by Rackstacker. I just really like them. Nice people. I met them at the Sportsman Show. They actually had a contest. I won it, which is fantastic. Stuff's really good. Canadian company. Really like them. The guy Steve. I believe he's the owner. He's a fantastic guy. I got to talk to him for a bit. But so yeah, I mix this in. Just a little protein again for later in the year. Gonna try it and they smell it. They come in from a little bit of a distance. Right here, I got a mineral station. So I just have some dead wood. I dug up a bunch of ground. I'm using Blaze minerals from Rackstacker. Again, thank you, Steve, for all this stuff. Nice to see an Ontario guy, out there in the market. So usually I don't put them this close together, but the reason is I'm kind of low on cameras right now, as I lent a few out to some of my friends for turkey season and vice versa. So I have a 5-point cellular camera there. We have logging roads here, old logging roads that are now ATV trails that go through the property. It's about a 100-acre property, and there's just little bends and curves. And maybe I'm going to put a stand up here, depending on an exit and entry point. I'm still newer to this property, so I'm trying to find. That's a huge thing I try to preach to people, is entry and exit. If you could have the greatest spot in the world, but if you spook everything going in, then it doesn't really matter, because they're going to hear you coming and going. So now I'm going to take you over to the food plot idea and kind of explain to you what I'm doing, and that's the main area that I plan to harvest maybe later in the year, but also just to attract deer and also help with the nutrition, because again, I believe if I'm going to harvest, I want to help bring the population and health of the population up. Thank you, guys.
So essentially this is the food plot. I'm just voicing over this because the audio wasn't very good. It was windy. So this is the food plot off the staging area, which is about 100 yards back. So it's a U shape. Now if you look between the two trees, I'm looking to plant sorghum or Egyptian wheat just to make a tall cover crop. So it's just going to be maybe a line about 6 feet in width, and from both trees. They usually grow in 90 days to about, I think, 12 feet is it. So I'm planning to put a stand on the east and west side. I'm not going to hunt it very often. That's just going to be maybe later in the year. In the actual plot itself, I'm looking to do clover and brassica. When I just pan over to the left there, I know there's a bedding area in that area. There's bedding areas near the staging area as well, to the south of me. Hold on, my dog was barking like crazy, so I let him out. This is Dallas, everybody. My 11-month-old Great Dane, who is a pain in the ass. No, I'm kidding, he's a great dog. Okay, but yeah, so I'm looking to do either clover or brassica.